Good morning, everyone. Coming from Jerusalem, Israel. Today is Yom Rishon, the 10th day of Kislev, 5786. And it is Sunday, November 30th, 2025. Parshas Vayishlach. And today's Daf Yomi is Zevachim 77. And I found this article from the Jewish Observer, and it's from December of 1982, Tevis 5743, and it's an article about the 8th completion of the Daf Yomi, 8th completion of Shas, the 8th cycle, that happened in 1982, which was the year 5743. It started in 1975, I think. Yeah, 1975. And I was searching the Daf Yomi calendars, and this has been my work for some time now. And I found an article called The 8th Completion. The article is called The Diary of a Daf Yomi Maggid Shiur. And it really gives a good picture of the 7.5-year journey of those who study a page of Talmud a day. And it's very good for people who want to know. Let's just say you want to know what daf they were learning 40 years ago. Let's say what daf were they learning on your birthday? Okay? Or what daf were they learning 80 years ago? In fact, there was a Daf Yomi cycle that went throughout the Holocaust, that 7-year period of the World War II. From, it was like 1938 through 1945. That exact 7.5 year was a Daf Yomi cycle. Wouldn't it be amazing to see what daf they were learning? Like there was an article called the Daf Yomi in the something ghetto. Amazing. And throughout all these 7.5 year periods up until now, it's amazing testimony how Torah is immovable, immutable, unshakable. It goes throughout anything, and it lasts. It's a rock and solid ground, and on which I stand. And this article I found is very interesting for people who are interested in that. It's called Diary of a Daf Yomi Maggid Shiur. It doesn't say the name. I don't see the name here on the article it's printed, but it will give a good history of the... So if you're in your mid to late 40s, this will correlate to the 7-year period. You might, if you're anywhere from over like 50 to 47 to, I would say, let's see, from 7, let's see here, 50, let's say 51 to 44, something like that, then this will correlate to some time when you were born. And definitely that goes into my categories. So this article starts on the year 5735, which was 1975. And the English date was, let's see here, it was, in the United States, the 7th Siyum Shas was held on June 15th, 1975. In Jerusalem was June 14th, so it's around mid-June of 1975. And he writes here that the 15th of Tammuz was the first day of the 8th cycle. It's kind of hard to imagine. I'll have to check on my calendar, because that's one of my big studies also, calendars. And to have 15th of June to be the 15th of Tammuz, that means it was a very early year. It was a year like 1994. It was very, very early. Whenever Tammuz is in mid-June, it's a super early year. That's also a year that my bar mitzvah was, in 1991. The 2nd of Tammuz was June 14th. The 3rd of Tammuz was June 15th. So So I guess that makes sense. 15th of Tammuz could be, wow. I'll have to check it out. Anyway, here's the article. 5735 Tammuz 15. The first day of the 8th cycle. I've learned Daf Yomi on and off for a few years, but this time it's going to be different. I've decided to force upon myself the obligation of preparing and teaching the Daf. Start and stop, skip a parak, even a masechta, superficial comprehension, as long as I finish the Daf. These were the pitfalls of the past, not this time. Now that I have assumed responsibility for a friend too, he must think that I am being magnanimous, but the relationship is symbiotic. I am gaining at least as much. The huge gathering in Manhattan Center celebrating the Siyum Hashas is fresh in my mind. Gedolei Yisrael from all segments of Orthodoxy joined in a massive Kiddush Hashem. I want to be part of it, and I will do my utmost to succeed. Okay, that's 15th of Tammuz. We're looking at, since I won't have the exact dates, I'll say like June, mid to late June 1975. Okay, 15th of Tammuz is a significant date because that's the yard site of the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, the Holy Orach Chaim, Chaim Ben Atar. Okay. Next, Elul 18. We completed brachos. Makes sense. Brachos is 64 daf, something, 63. So, about 2 months. Tammuz takes you to Elul. Makes sense. We completed brachos. Almost every night I said the Shiur. I somehow found the time to prepare. You always surmise that you'll be too busy or you'll have pressing obligations. However, nothing stands in the way of the powerful force of Torah learning. We missed some analysis of the various sugyas. The give and take means the shakavatari, they say give and take, of debating the logic of your argument is missing. The eternal dilemma of Sinai versus Oker Horim is our personal. Sinai means like a vast, very wide breadth of knowledge. You're spanning many, many topics, but not so deep. Where you could call it horizontal. And then Oker Horim is the opposite. Very, very deep analysis and extreme, intense concentration, mastery of one area, but you're just not covering that many topics. And that would be like compared to vertical. So is our personal trial. Okay, you never fully resolve your doubts because you must continually walk this tightrope. On one hand, you are compelled to finish Shas. On the other hand, you must also set aside time to learn with the intensity and freshness of your youth. Okay, now he cuts to 11th of Elul and 5737. So where were we? We were in 5735. So now we're cutting to 2 years later now. 11 2 years. Seder Moed is not complete. Okay. I can compare that to, like in our time, I can cut back to when we started this cycle. We started in Teves of 5780, which was like January 5th, 2020. And when we finished Seder Moed, it was already like March of 2022. I remember March 8th, which is very interesting. March 8th is International Women's Day. We started Seder Nashim on International Women's Day. That's amazing. Like Beis of Yevamos was March 8th of 2022. So now I'm going back into 1977, and I'm seeing that same thing. Except here, it wasn't from January to March. It would have been from Tammuz to Elul. Would be that same thing, only 2 years later. Okay? I'll follow that. Seder Moed is now complete. It is the first time in my life to have completed an entire Seder. For this accomplishment alone, it has been worth it. Of course, I would have set aside time for learning even without Daf Yomi. Think, though, all the extra hours because of the goal that must be achieved. We must finish the Daf no matter what obstacle intrudes. We go on vacation together so that we will not fall behind. We learn on the plane, for every minute is precious. This is the same sentiment that it's amazing. If you think about like Daf Yomi of Eli Stefanski and America's Daf Yomi is the same sentiment. He's doing the Daf on a plane. He's doing this hotel. It's extreme commitment to Torah learning, and it's really just amazing, And it's I've looked around. It's hard to see something that's more demonstrable about this extreme, like Avas Hashem. I mean that's really what it is. It's avodas Hashem, but it's love. It's absolute devotion and commitment to. It's hard. It's to God basically, and it's hard to find anything else that's demonstrable about that. You find people all over, but this is like, Anyway, we must finish the daf, no matter what obstacle intrudes. We go on vacation together, so we won't fall behind. Let's see, we're on time here. 11 minutes. Okay. We go on vacation together, so we won't. Okay. Previously, we didn't appreciate the amount of Torah learning that can be accomplished during a busy and hairy day. 10, 15 minutes stolen here and there add up to countless hours of limud of Torah. However, be cautious. There is always a danger lurking that when you finish the daf, you stop learning that day. The Yetzer Hara never rests. You must discipline yourself to learn an extra Tosfos or concentrate on a difficult Ktsos or Rabbi Akiva Eger. Daf Yomi should teach you to utilize your time productively and not create new limitations. Okay, so that was, 5737 Elul. I wasn't born yet this time. I came into the scene at 5738. So between this article, between 5737 5738, I was born in 2 Tammuz of 5738. So now I'm a few months old here. Let's see. Now we're holding a cheshvan. This would be like October, November time of 1978. Okay? And this person is writing, today I start a new parak, new chapter, together with all those people learning Daf Yomi throughout the world. For me, it is always a new parak in my life. I have been asked to say the Daf Yomi Shiur for a group of B'nai Torah in our local shtibel. 5 people at the outset. My life pattern will now experience a complete metamorphosis. When you learn with one individual, your level of advanced preparation can be minimal. You can stop in the middle, search for answers, work out the problems together. Now you must be totally prepared. You have exactly 1 hour to finish the daf. You must anticipate potential questions and have advanced knowledge of upcoming dafim and be cognizant of the main points made by Rishonim and Achronim in clarifying the Gemara. What a frightening but exciting, challenging prospect. Another aspect of the new Shiur had an even more profound effect on my lifestyle. I had always learned in the evening, and I was basically a night person my whole life. It was unusual for me to be in bed before midnight. I had now to awaken at 4:30 in order to be in shul for the class at 5:40. My new bedtime goal was 10:30. It wasn't often achieved since my phone didn't respect my schedule. Okay? We're talking about 11th of Cheshvan, 5738. Okay, and now I missed one. Okay, let's go back. All right, this is going to be a little interesting. I missed 5736, Shvat 26. Profound analysis of various sages. Oh, okay. Missed some nights. Oh, okay. Missed some analysis. Oh, okay. We missed some nights, but were compensated by doubling time present the next evening. There were no compromises. The Seder must be honored, no interruption tolerated. We have ascended to the first rung with the comprehension and no gaps. We felt Siyata Shmaya, the goal of completing Shas, once throughout is surmountable, and now is not beyond us. So now we can dream. Okay, so this is I went to 5738, but now I'm going back to 5736. A little trippy, a little choppy. Okay, this is 26 of Shvat. Let's go back to 1976 now. 5736. Masechta Shabbos is now complete. Okay. Masechta Shabbos is now complete, very difficult and technically complex. We are elated and we want to share our joy with others, so we prepare a large kiddush and invite friends, Rabbanim, and Rosh Yeshiva. Our happiness must be infectious, for there are many questions, and there are some enticed to try Daf Yomi. This is also a time of reflection and even doubts. The Masechta we had studied in depth in Beis Midrash and Kollel. It is true that we demanded of ourselves a basic understanding of each daf before continuing to the next one. However, delving into the Rishonim and Achronim, earlier and later commentaries, is not feasible. So we left many unanswered questions, many paths waiting to be trodden. The excitement offered by the profound analysis of our various sages. They give and take, and Shakavatari, remember that? Shakavatari logic of our statement is missing. The eternal dilemma of Sinai and Oker Harim, our personal trial. You never fully resolve your doubts because you must continually walk the tightrope. On the other hand, you are compelled to finish Shas. On the other hand, you must also set aside time to learn with the intensity of and freshness of your youth. Okay? So that's 5736. And then I went through 5737. I said that before. Now we're jumping to 5741. This is Adar 1 of 1981. Okay? We have now completed Seder Nezikin and the majority of Shas. So that takes me to Elul of 5786. Right? 5786, we finished Nezikin. That's how I relate to it. We have now completed Seder Nezikin. Now I'm jumping back to March of 1981. We have now completed Seder Nezikin and the majority of Shas. It is time for a personal accounting. It hasn't been worth it. The daf passed so quickly. You try to look up a Gemara that you are sure you just learned, and when you finally find it, it was 2 months ago. Time and daf become extremely compressed. I can now relate to that myself personally. You must constantly review, for you forget so readily. The words and concepts sound only vaguely familiar, and it is traumatic when you realize that you taught it in the past year. Is it really worth it? One day, one of my new Talmidim in the Shiur, 25 of them now, called me on the phone to ask me a question on the daf we studied in the morning. This was the first of many follow-up questions by members of the Shiur. They actually reviewed what I taught. It was having an effect on them. They wanted to know. My Rosh Yeshiva always said that you could tell a true Ben Torah is someone who could not fall asleep because of a difficult Rabbi Akiva Eiger. These B'nai Torah gave up their sleep every day to learn Torah. They were concerned, involved, curious, and demanding. Their lives began to revolve around the Daf Yomi. Their children knew that Tati woke up in the dark house before daybreak to learn Torah. What a magnificent lesson in Chinuch. At times, the topic of conversation in the homes revolved about Abba's learning. The example set was pointed and impressive. Yes, it was worth it. So now we're cutting to Kislev 9, which is actually like today. Kislev 9, actually today's the 10th. But this is Kislev 9 of 5742. So that would be 1981. Right? Because, it's always from September until December, the Hebrew year is always 1 year behind. So like January would have been 1982. So if it's November, December, it's going to be 5742. Just as right now it's 5786, but we're still 2025. You see? It's going back and forth. So in this article, it's 5742, 9th of Kislev. I have started learning Daf Yomi with my 12-year-old son. Wow, this 12-year-old son then is now 52 years old. No, he's like 57 years old. Oh my gosh, amazing. This 12-year-old son that he had there in 1982, you have to add, he's 50, let's see, whatever, he's in his mid-50s. Okay, I started learning Daf Yomi with my 12-year-old son with the inception of Kedoshim, with Kachim. Kachim, we're in Kachim right now, so I can connect to that in that level, okay? One of the proudest days of my life was when he made a siyum on Masechtas Menachos on the Shabbos of his bar mitzvah. I hope this accomplishment will lead him to complete Shas many more times in his life. Okay. Now we're cutting to 25 El of 19. This must be a mistake because it's 5743. It would have to be 1983 because before it was 5742. So now it's 25 El of 1983. Which is 5743, and they're about to finish. We've just completed Kachim. You see what I mean? Yeah, we went however long it takes, almost 2 years to do Kachim. We have just completed Kachim. We are very thankful for the support and encouragement that we have received all these years from our wives, and we include, same thing as same by Eli Stefanski, same exact sentiment. It's unbelievable. That we... from our wives, and we include them again in our Siyum celebration. Our Shiur, numbering 40 now, encompasses a group of very devoted and dedicated B'nai Torah, from a doctor in his 70s who follows a daf in English, Gemara, to a very alert fellow with a seeing eye dog, the only Talmud never to have barked at me. Doctors, lawyers, teachers, musicians, accountants, professionals at every stripe, the odds were against their succeeding, but their persistence was amazing. They are my constant source of chizuk, and I will be eternally grateful to them. Okay? And here it brings us to the final segment of this 7.5-year journey, which started in Tammuz of 35 and ends in Cheshvan of 43. Okay, 5743, which is 1983. And it says here in 5743, Cheshvan 28, Kor Cheshvan, which is a very significant date here. It says, now this is when the Siyum is. What a manifestation of Kavod Shemayim. Klal Yisrael together in felt forum for one purpose only, the supreme purpose, Limud HaTorah, the survival of our people. During such a Kiddush Hashem, you can hear faintly the sound of the shofar of Mashiach. Do you see how there's the Mashiach is always connected to it in some kind of vague way? Not vague, it's like hidden, but it's always there. And I think that was really what the Daf Yomi was about from the beginning with. And that is my journey of the Daf Yomi, is in revealing and finding the Mashiach in the Daf Yomi. It's good to leave it at 26. Yeah, let's go to 26 minutes. This article is 26 minutes. That's great.